One of the common symptoms people begin to experience as they age is gastric reflux, GERD, where you feel a burning sensation up the esophagus, even into the throat, sometimes even get choking or irritation on swallowing. The issue is the symptom itself, and what the condition underlying causing the symptoms is where there's room for debate. The cause that I've seen over the last 25 years that has had full resolution when it's handled is hypochlorhydria, meaning lower amounts of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, causing a lack of adequate digestion. In conventional medicine, the answer is lack of acid, and the solution is it's too much acid. And the solution is to give antacids like proton pump inhibitors. And I have an article that I can send you that was published in a journal about the disparity between conventional medical approach to reflux, gastric reflux, and a more holistic or functional nutritional approach to gastric reflux. So the issue is, what is the cause of this reflux? And what we've seen over the last number of decades is that it's not hydrochloric acid that's being irritating the esophagus. It's actually weak acids. If it was hydrochloric acid with a pH 2 without any mucus lining, adequate mucus lining in the esophagus, it would burn holes in the esophagus. It's not designed for very strong acids such as hydrochloric acid. What is more the case when you see someone that has gastric reflux, they usually also have bloating after they eat. They usually have constipation. And what's normally happening is the digestive process is not working correctly. So it's usually due to weak acids in the stomach. So what happens is the food sits there and food's not breaking down. So in a sense, protein putrefies, kind of like an animal on the side of the road. It just breaks down, kind of gross, but animal flesh just sitting, and weak acids begin to break it down, but it leaves you bloated with lots of gas, lots of, and the food's just not breaking down. Or foods begin to ferment, like carbohydrates with yeast in the gut. They begin to actually go through fermentation. What happens in those cases is you have weak acids that go through the sphincter on the top of the stomach and cause irritation to the esophagus, like pyruvic acid and lactic acids and other acids. But it's usually not too much acid. And the reason being is the physiology, the reality of physiology is that the amount of acid you have in your stomach at 60 years old is about half of the amount of acid that you're secreting at 18 years old. So we have a deficit of acid. And when we try to block acid, it just doesn't make physiological sense, because as we age, it goes down. If you look at all different types of hormones, let's say thyroid hormone or testosterone or estrogen, all of these different hormones that are used by the body for optimal health begin to reduce as we age. It would be very odd that we would secrete more acid as we age. And the problem is usually 100% the opposite. So products such as GastroPlus, which has betaine hydrochloric acid and enzymes in it, is what you can use to stimulate the secretion of hydrochloric acid. It actually is hydrochloric acid to help in digestion. And it, in essence, it can help increase your body's production, which is not very common when you take a supplement or drug, that it helps assist it. But we've noticed that digestion actually improves over time, even with the slow reduction in the utilization of additional hydrochloric acid. So the only issue that could occur is if they had such low acid for so long, they would have a lot of microbes, bacteria, fungus, yeast, different things in the gut that begin to damage the gut lining, the mucosal layer of the gut. So sometimes when you give GastroPlus at a regular dose, if they feel a burning with only 1 or 2 tablets, it may not be that they have too much acid. It may be that they don't have a mucus lining. There is something that you can do that's not inside the Aceva program, but it's called DGL licorice. Health food store should have it. Ask for wafers, DGL licorice wafers. Deglycerized licorice is what it is. And basically chew on a wafer that stimulates the body, and the licorice actually stimulates mucus secretion in the gut, and that can help rebuild it. Do that for 2 to 4 weeks, then add the GastroPlus, and you should have no symptom. What you want to do is increase the GastroPlus, and there's a document that you can use that is about dosing GastroPlus that will help you guide you with the patient on how much they should take. But you want to titrate it up a little bit and stop when you do feel a warmth in the gut, the warm feeling. If it is burning, but it's usually just a warm feeling, you want to reduce the dose a little. It's not going to take much, 1 to 3, usually tablets will usually get the effect of great digestion, stopping of acid reflux, and improved digestion. So the other thing that happens on physiologically is what we see is that the sphincter on the top of the stomach actually loosens for 2 reasons. Not enough acid to cause a positive reflex to close the sphincter, to close the door between the stomach and the esophagus. But it could also be a subluxation where there's an issue around T6, 7, I believe, but you can look at the chart on the stimulation of that gastric sphincter, is adjusting the spine and stimulating neurological integrity to the sphincter. The other thing you can do is, as a chiropractor, you can work on right under the xiphoid process, is you come right off the xiphoid, come about an inch lower. Don't push right off that xiphoid, about an inch lower. Take your thumb, and while the patient's laying down, you can push down and towards the floor on a breath. They breathe in. As they breathe out, push in and down again. Very uncomfortable. Push in again. The third one, impulse. Just do a little impulse, and they'll go, oh. And what you're doing is stimulating that sphincter to kind of close that door. Out of hundreds of cases, I've only had one that didn't have an effect over 25 years. I was shocked at how all the gastric reflux was eliminated. Digestion improved, constipation improved, but other things improved, because when you increase digestion and breakdown of proteins into amino acids and carbs into disaccharides or monosaccharides, you can use those assets to make hormones and repair and make immune cells and repair the body. So everything can improve in the body when you improve digestion. But that's hopefully that helps. That's helping gastric reflux using GastroPlus.